This August I went on an amazing trip to China. It was a country I had never been to before and I wanted to know more about it. I had heard some things about China. I'd heard about dragons, emperors, kung fu and pandas, and I'd also heard that China has the highest population of any country. When I arrived it was extremely hot, and my friend Aida told me that in China people drink lots of tea without milk or sugar, although all I wanted was an ice cold can of Coke.
What a lovely cup of flowered tea.
Aida was my first Chinese friend and she spoke English with a funny accent that made me laugh. She told me all about the Great Wall of China.
So you know when the Great Wall has been built? It started built in 221 BC, you know? It's very long Great Wall. Great Wall in China means long wall. You got it? So next time, listen carefully. Okay, let's say goodbye to them.
I travelled in a cable car up the majestic, green and vibrant mountains until we reached the wall. The view was spectacular as smoothly and slowly we meandered our way up. The sky looked like the crystal clear sparkling waters of an azure sea. The wall snaked along, a silent, strong and menacing serpent, following the top curve of the mountains into the distance. It was so quiet. I could hear the breeze fluttering the leaves, the distant singing of the occasional bird, and the intermittent shrill of the cicadas. The Chinese built this wall before most countries could build a house. In ancient times, China was led by an emperor, Qin Shi Huang. He built the wall to keep the enemies out and to guard against silk smuggling. As I look, I think I can almost hear the sounds of battles fought on these aging bricks, and I wonder what it would have been like all those years ago.
Wow, what a wonderful view from the Great Wall of China. I wish you could all be here with us to see it.
Emperor Qin Shi Huang also built an incredible mausoleum. In ancient times, the Chinese believed in life after death, and they believed that people should be buried with everything they would need in their afterlife. The emperor made sure he would be ready by having a model of his whole army made to be buried with him. That meant 8,000 life-size men made out of clay called the terracotta warriors, as well as horses and chariots. First we had to take a ride on a coach on China's busy 5-lane motorways. Next, when we had reached the location of the warriors, there were lots of people who had come too, so we had to make sure we didn't get lost. Our guide Jenny held a small blue fluttering flag on a pole for us to follow. After that, we steeled ourselves to jump into the next available golf buggy which would take us to the entrance of the first site. Despite all the pushing, I eventually got a place on a buggy and was wedged in between all the other holiday makers taking photographs. Off we went. Soon we casually followed the crowds into a huge building even more full of people. It was hot, stuffy and claustrophobic, but what a fantastic sight. Every soldier was different faces, different clothes and different weapons. They stood to attention as if they were waiting for someone to tell them what to do. They looked like they were ready for anything. The soldiers had been buried for nearly 2,000 years. It must have taken such a long time to carefully, bit by bit, dig them out of the ground and mend any broken pieces. The last part of this trip involved looking at one of the chariots and a model of the emperor himself. We followed the noisy, excited, chattering crowds down into a dark hall. I was expecting something awesome. It was so dark, all I could see were the flashes of cameras. Other people couldn't see either, so everyone kept bumping into everyone else. It was like human dodging cars. Help! Finally, the sightseeing was over and I went to have my evening cup of tea. At the end of each day, the shops in China open late and whole families go out together excitedly. Shopping in China was amazing. There were so many things to see and hear. There were menacing jade dragons, custom-made t-shirts, and glittering jewellery. However, watching the crowds was even more fun. Since this trip, I have been able to say that China is an especially amazing country. The mountains are beautiful, the food is marvellous, I've learned about emperors, I found a country where there were lots of people who were polite and happy to help, and I nearly had my feet cleaned by fish. It was definitely the best trip I have ever been on.
I love this Chinese food, especially this Peking duck. Wow!